So a few days ago, Donald Trump flew his airplane over the body of water that is situated, near Florida and Texas and the Yucatan Peninsula. And he declared that that body of water was now called the Gulf of America, which is part of his insane gambit to rename and Americanize all sorts of things like Mount Denali, now being called Mount McKinley, and claiming a plan to take over Greenland and Panama and I don't know, maybe the whole world, certainly turning the presidency into something akin to a dictatorship or a kingship. Anyway, the thing that to me is so interesting about this moment where Trump renames a body of water that has been called that for, longer than the United States has been around, is that one internet service that we all use immediately followed suit and changed the name to the Gulf of America. That was Google. Whereas Apple, the other big map purveyor, has kept it for now as the Gulf of Mexico. And I think this is actually a really interesting metaphor for everything that has been going on in the last few weeks here in the United States, is that Trump is acting by dictate. He is telling you what reality is, and it's up to the country at large to decide whether that is the new reality that we live in. A name has no inherent reality to it. A name is just a thing that we label on the world and call it whatever we want. Because the Gulf of Mexico doesn't care one way or another what it's called. The fish will be fine. The oil will be fine. All of the things in the Gulf of Mexico will remain the same. However, if we, as a population of people who agree on a shared reality, say, no, what Trump says is real, and we start changing things like Google has, you become essentially acknowledging and giving power to this administration to be real. Whereas Apple, for now at least, says, well, we'll see. We'll just see about that. Maybe this is resistance. Maybe this is just their developers. Maybe this is just the developers not really, getting the memo just yet. But the point is, this same problem with the maps, this same decision with the various mapping organizations is the same as law in general in the United States that Trump is trampling over. When he makes a dictate that clearly goes against the nature of the Constitution, which he has done on multiple occasions recently, when he has taken away the power of Congress to issue funds and has decided himself that he can, by fiat, not pay things that have been authorized by our legislative bodies. He is acting like a king. When he ignores judges that put injunctions on his overreach, it becomes real when we say it's real. Because although the courts don't have an enforcement arm, they are merely given their power by the Constitution. It's important to also remember that we give the presidency power by the Constitution as well. It is a fiction. Presidential power is a fiction that we all agreed on and that we wrote in this several hundred-year-old document in the same way we gave judicial authority to adjudicate our claims when there's a dispute. If we just abandon our history and abandon the systems that have existed in our country since its founding and we just give it away, well, then Trump really does become the king that we never actually wanted. And this is why what's going on Google Maps is sort of interesting. I don't know. I've been a Google Maps guy for basically since Google Maps came out. But if I have to choose between a reality of the Gulf of America and the Gulf of Mexico, I'm going to put all my cards with the Gulf of Mexico. Thanks for listening. This was Scott Carney's Back Channel.